Did the Georgia Bulldogs get absolutely shafted with the 2024 SEC football schedule? That's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. Listen, I know Dean talked about the schedule a little bit. I know Ryan made a video, but now it's my turn, right? I'm ready to dig into this. And at first, when the schedule came out, I said, man, Georgia got a pretty tough draw here. But the more I look at it, the more I break it down, I don't think Georgia got shafted, really. Now, I know that Georgia fans want more home games, right? I think that's the biggest gripe that Georgia fans have with the schedule. Not that it's tough. It is a very tough schedule, but I think Georgia fans now are at the point where they're tired of hearing about Georgia having a cupcake schedule. And it's not Georgia's fault that Florida stinks, that Auburn can't get it together. Missouri and Kentucky are completely average, and South Carolina is the most Jekyll and Hyde team in college football. It's not Georgia's fault that their 2023 schedule is a little weak, but this 2024 gauntlet of a schedule is something I think Georgia fans are excited for. Now, 3 home games in the SEC, Tennessee, Auburn, and Mississippi State. I mean, it could be better, could be worse. You also have Georgia Tech and Athens. That's going to be an easy win, along with, I think, Tennessee Tech and UMass, right? Georgia's going to beat them by 100 points. But Tennessee at home is going to be massive. Just give them a night game. Georgia fans deserve multiple night games in Athens. It's one of the best environments in college football, especially under the lights. And it might be the most intimidating place to play in all of college football right now. Georgia hasn't lost there since 2019. And it wasn't due to the lack of environment and crowd noise. I can tell you that. Georgia just lost that game. They dropped the ball literally multiple times. But Auburn at home, Tennessee at home. Mississippi State came to Athens in 2017. Place was rocking. Place was going nuts. And I expect that to happen again. And Georgia Tech. So it's hard to really argue against the home schedule when you've got 3 big games there. But it's the road schedule that really, I noticed, right? And I'm a guy that has to go to these games. We're not some average Joes talking about Georgia football every day on YouTube. We have to go to the games. I have to be in the press box in every game. That's because we know what we're talking about. And we have to travel to Tuscaloosa. Going to be the biggest game of the season, biggest game in all of college football that year. Sorry, Ohio State and Michigan. You come after Georgia and Alabama. That's just how it is right now. They go to Ole Miss. I'm not looking forward to the drive to Oxford. Never been to Oxford before, so I'll be kind of cool, but I'll be working. I can't really have fun. Too much fun. Lexington is cool. But I'm just praying that game is early in the season. It can be really, really cold up there. I don't want to play Kentucky. I'm suiting up and playing for the team. I'm not, but I got to cover the team, and I don't want to cover that game in November. I'm hoping that Kentucky game's early. And then the trip to Austin, Texas, that's going to be a big one. Georgia fans are going to show out. So when I first looked at the schedule, I said, that's a lot of miles that Kirby Smart and the Dogs have to put in. That's a lot of Dawg Post miles, a lot of time on the road. And Georgia fans travel as well, if not better, than any fan base in college football. We've known that for several years now. I don't know if they're going to take over Austin, Texas, but there will be thousands of Georgia fans there. A lot of you watching this video right now, I'm sure, have already booked their flights to Austin, Texas for that game. They're going to be in Tuscaloosa. They're not going to take over Bryant-Denny Stadium, but that could end up being one of the biggest football games in Bryant-Denny Stadium ever, especially if Georgia is coming off a 3rd straight national title. We might have a book called Triple Dogs to sell y'all at that point, but we don't. Make sure you pick up Double Dogs. It's flying off the shelves. Get it now. It's the best coffee table book in the world, I think, rated by me. I gave it that. So make sure you pick that up. Sign up to the newsletter. We're pumping out stuff all day long. Dean is the best writer of anyone that covers Georgia football. I'll go say that right now. He wrote a great story about this schedule that you can read over on Dawg Post. I still have a problem putting commas and semicolons in my stories. I don't know where they go. It's tough. It's tough. Dean knows exactly where they go, and he is a great writer. So make sure you sign up to the newsletter, check all that out. But at the end of the day, I'm excited about this schedule, and I think Georgia fans are too. I mean, if you're the king of college football, which Georgia is right now, they are on top. They are the top dog in the game right now. And if they win a 3rd straight title, which they could with that cupcake schedule, who cares how tough it is? Now, I haven't seen any Georgia fans, upset about how tough the schedule is. I don't see anyone talking about that. They just want more home games. And it's tough when you have Florida and Jacksonville and Clemson and Atlanta. It's two opportunities to have a game in Athens that they're not going to have, right? But Atlanta is Athens West, basically. There will be more Georgia fans in Atlanta than Clemson fans. There were more Georgia fans there than Ohio State fans and Oregon fans and on and on and on, even Alabama fans. There were a lot more Georgia fans than Alabama fans, especially in that national title game, it felt like. SEC title game was a little more 50-50. But you can't take the Florida game out of Jacksonville. It's not going to happen as far as I can tell. And it is one of the coolest parts, environments, cultures in college football. It's the biggest party in the world. They don't like us saying that, but that's what it's supposed to be. But in 25, that will be an away game for Georgia. So Georgia will get an extra home game, but I'm sure they'll send Dawg Post and Georgia out to Arkansas or out to A&M or out to Missouri with that extra home game. But at the end of the day, it's a very tough schedule, but it's an exciting one. Let's look at who the Gators have. They have LSU at home, A&M at home, Ole Miss and Kentucky both at home. Their away game against Georgia and Jacksonville, Mississippi State on the road, Tennessee on the road, Texas on the road. That is, it's kind of tough. You throw in Miami and UCF in there. Florida's going to have a lot of trouble winning, not only this upcoming season, 23, I think they might be one of the worst teams in the SEC. 24 is going to be brutal as well. Billy Napier and the Gators have their work cut out for them. They better start recruiting a little bit better if they want to come anywhere close to competing for an SEC title. In 24, Alabama has Auburn at home, Georgia at home, Missouri at home, and South Carolina at home. On the road to LSU, on the road to Oklahoma, on the road to Tennessee, and then on the road at Vanderbilt. Alabama's schedule is, it's not a cakewalk either. They've got some tough games on that schedule. I thought that Texas got off early, easy. Not early, easy. Oklahoma's schedule is a gauntlet too for their first SEC season. They got Texas and Dallas. That's their home game. They have Alabama at home. Good luck with that. Tennessee at home. Good luck with that. Tennessee is going to be really good in 2024. I'm just going to say that. I like what they're doing. I think they could be better in 24 than they will be in 23. I can explain that in another video. But Tennessee is going to be stout in 24, I think. But the Sooners also have South Carolina at home. They could lose to the Gamecocks at home. Oklahoma better get it together. Then they're on the road at LSU. Good luck. On the road at Auburn. Good luck. Auburn could be better than people think in 24. They've hit the transfer portal really well. I think they actually might be better year one and with Hugh Freeze in 23 this upcoming season than a lot of people think. So Auburn's not going to be bad for a long time. I do think they are heading in the right direction. And Oklahoma could easily lose that game in Jordan here. It's not Jordan here, even though it's spelled Jordan here. It's Jordan-Hare Stadium, I guess. Then they have at the Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's still around. That's going to be a tough one. And then on the road at Missouri. Oklahoma could have they could have the worst season they've ever had in 2024. I think South Carolina has a favorable schedule. Tennessee has Alabama at home, Mississippi State at home, Florida at home, Kentucky at home. They got off pretty lucky there. On the road at Georgia, we know they've lost the last three there. The Sanford Stadium crowd, it was way too much for that prolific Tennessee offense last year. It's not going to be any different in 24, but Tennessee could be really good. That could be a Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, Alabama top four in this 24 schedule. I still think it's going to take a minute for Oklahoma and Texas to continue, to play with the big boys week in and week out, right? There's no Iowa State. There's no Texas Tech that you get a little break with, right? There's no Baylor. I mean, Baylor's fine. TCU's fine, but it's not like this. You're not playing with the big boys out there week after week. In the SEC, you are. And I think it's going to be a lot tougher than I think they realize. But welcome to the SEC. This is what you signed up for. This is what you're going to get. Overall, I love it because we're going to have great games, multiple great games each week. It feels like some weeks last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago even, there's some some weeks where it's like, okay, this game's fine, but in 24 and beyond, you're going to have multiple fantastic, great games that everyone's going to want to watch every single week. Covering the Dogs, it's going to be tough for me to watch all these games. It just means I get to watch more football Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday to catch up with everything because we cover the Georgia games. We're not at home covering the games like a lot of people who say they cover, do, right? We are at the game. So that means we can't watch the other games. And when we're working after the Georgia games, that means, yeah, there might be LSU, Florida on TV in the corner, but we're still working. We're still traveling to wherever, to the stadium, after the stadium. So it's tough to watch a lot of the games when you cover a team. But whatever, it's still going to be fun. I'm excited for the 24 schedule. Georgia's got a tough one. They've got a gauntlet in 24, but when you're the king of college football, you just got to say, bring it on. Kirby Smart said, we will not be hunted at the University of Georgia. They're not going to be hunted in 23. They're not going to be hunted in 24 either. But I do think that Georgia fans want a little bit better of a home schedule. Maybe they get one in 25. I hope so. Let's just get some night games inside Sanford Stadium. It's tough to win there for anyone else. If you're playing the Dogs at night in Sanford Stadium, you're going to need all the luck in the world if you're going to come out of that one. But we'll see. Hopefully, Tennessee or Auburn will be playing at night. That's the only thing I think Georgia fans are, will make them feel a little better about that home schedule. But, what do you think? I know I kind of rambled on in this video a little bit, but just want to give my thoughts. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Sign up to the newsletter. Again, can't say that enough. And I'll see you either on the next video or over on Dawg Post.